Thanks for tuning in to the Old Dirty Basement. On this week's episode, we cover serial killer Samuel Little.
This guy is the murderingest murder who ever murdered enough to murder. He is the number one in United States history.
The GOAT.
The GOAT.
He is the GOAT.
Samuel Little. Yeah, I like. He's like a mouse type figure, right?
Yeah, that
And then
movie.
he goes around and he has his own car. I mean, it's insane. I can't wait to learn more about this guy.
This guy had a 35-year run. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's funny. I don't know that I ever heard the name before, and I wasn't aware of this, it's crazy that it doesn't get more coverage, but we're going to cover it today. And
it's on the DL.
Yep. So don't forget to leave that 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you may be, and sit back, relax, and enjoy our coverage of Samuel Little.
This is the Old Dirty Basement, home to debauchery, madness, murder, and mayhem. A terror-filled train ride deep into the depths of the devil's den.
With a little bit of humor.
History.
And copious consciousness.
I'm your announcer, Shallow Throat. Your hosts are Dave, Matt, and Zap. I love you, Matthew McConaughey. All right, all right, all right.
Hey, this is Dave,
Matt.
And Zap.
And welcome to the Old Dirty Basement.
where every week we cover a true crime.
Murder.
Or compelling story.
So sit back.
Relax.
And comprehend.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this morning edition of Old Dirty Basement. We are sitting here gathered around with some coffee. Some what do we have here? We had a copia.
Yeah.
As that would say.
Cornucopia.
Cornucopia. We had pizza and stromboli.
Yeah, this is post Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Tough luck for the Eagles fans out there.
Right.
Tough night, tough day
Sorry
today.
for your loss. There's always next year.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're all undefeated now. That's what I like to say.
Yep. So, this one here, Zap brought it to my attention. I did not know about this guy.
Yeah, it's amazing how these things just pop. When you finally get into this kind of thing, that you start looking around and surfing them internets, and then this guy crossed our old dashboard.
Old Dirty Radar.
Yeah, Old Dirty Radar picked up a fellow by the name of Samuel Little.
Yeah, and this, if you think about the top or would you say the best, but you don't want to say the best, but of anything you would think would be more well known than the number 2 or number 3 or number 4 down the list.
Yep.
For some reason, this guy is rated number 1.
He is a hidden gem. He is the number 1 most killingest killer in U.S. history.
Right.
He's also known as the choke and stroke killer. With a name like that, how is he not?
Choke and stroke is true. That is correct.
How's he not known of?
That was going to be one of my fun facts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. But it's just a fun fact that dude gets a name choke and stroke.
And nobody hears about this.
Yeah. Well, we're going to hear about it today.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to hear the story, kind of maybe how this all started. And yeah.
Yeah, just a broad overview of Samuel Little. Now, this guy, again, we're talking about a serial killer. The majority of his victims were prostitutes, drug addicts, homeless people. Most were female. Ultimately, this guy confessed to murdering 93 women between 1970 and 2005. Now, the FBI confirmed Little's involvement in at least 60 of those 93 confessed murders. Now, again, that 60, that is the largest number of confirmed victims for any serial killer in the United States. That's the biggest. Now, amazingly enough, though, so this guy was alleged to have done 93, or like he...
Yeah, this is your favorite here, the ones
Yep.
where you
Yes.
can just say, oh, I did this
That's
and I
right.
did that. And yeah, I did that one too.
He confessed to 93. He was confirmed on 60.
Yep.
And yet, after all of that, despite that entire huge swath of murders, in the end, he was only charged on 4 of them.
4 counts.
4 of them. And I guess number 2 would be Gary Ridgway at 49.
Yes, in second place, Gary Ridgway, 49.
The Green River Killer.
Well, this guy, like you said, it was prostitutes, drug addicts. A lot of times, I mean, he might have been like hopped up on meth balls,
Goofballs.
Yeah, goofballs doing his thing. A lot of these women might have just died from overdoses or just been lying there dead. You know, see, these are the ones, and I know Zap kind of has a problem with them too. Like these stories get so broad and so out of hand.
Right, but what would be the chances that he would know where their bodies were?
Or the pictures and stuff that he did. Yeah, there's a lot of things
and
that
I could
that
see what
lean
you're,
that way.
if you're trying to say that maybe they were natural causes deaths and that he just kind of took credit for them, but
No, not like that. I'm sure he was sitting there choking the shit out of somebody.
right.
But I think he might have been so messed up also at the time.
Yeah, no, I don't think.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
I got a little too. I'll let Zap take us through. I know he wrote everything up, but yeah, I think we'll find out as we go through. So why don't you take us through his life, I guess?
Yeah, let's go on the long and fun journey of Samuel Little. So Samuel Little was born on June 7th, 1940 in Reynolds, Georgia. That's about 100 miles south of Atlanta. His mom was Bessie Mae Little, old Bessie Mae.
Wasn't he a McDowell? Is that
His dad's name
okay?
is Paul McDowell.
And that's funny because we just had Coming to America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he was like heir to the McDowell riches,
See, I
or
didn't
if he
know-
had, if they,
That might have been Cleo's brother.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yes,
And
yeah.
I did not know that was actually his dad's name. I thought later in life it was an alias that he was using. So that's good to know
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
thought maybe he saw Coming to America. And it's funny you brought that up.
I think they called his dad Big Mick
Okay.
instead of Big Mac.
Yeah.
because they
Big Mac.
couldn't do that.
His buns have no seeds.
His dad's name was Donald McRonald.
But Bessie Mae Little,
Donald McRonald.
Yeah.
That is correct.
it's McDonald's, not McDaniel's.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
rhymes are Daryl's.
The rhymes are definitely Daryl's and the burgers are Ronald's.
The burgers are Ronald. There you
However, in McDowell land, the burgers are Cleo's.
go. Mm-hmm.
Anyways, not much. I don't know much about, or I wasn't able to find much about his dad, Mr. McDowell. But his mom, Bessie Mae, was so at the time that Little was born, Sam Little was born. His dad was 19, his mom was 16, and she was both a housemaid and a prostitute.
Yep.
Now, did he just think of she was a legitimate prostitute?
Yeah, around town.
Around town,
There were
okay.
charges. There were this and the
Gotcha.
other thing. She was a card-carrying prostitute and house cleaner. As a result of this, he ended up being brought up primarily by his grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
As time is going on, there's at one point later on in life when he was captured, ended up telling investigators he had gotten his first erection while watching his kindergarten teacher touch her neck, and then later on as a teenager, he actually some people when you're a kid, like, you hang posters of cars, you hang posters of chicks, you hang posters of whatever superheroes. Who gives a shit?
Right.
This guy had pinned a photograph from a true crime magazine of a female strangulation victim on his bedroom wall.
Wow. That's
As a
that's
kid,
a red flag.
he was very into the strangulation thing, which as his life goes on,
Yeah, we'll
choke and
see.
stroke, man.
It becomes, you don't get a name like Choke and Stroke without being into choking.
Even though I think he was one of the Commodores. I'm not quite sure of that fact, but I think he was the bassist. I said, that's old Choke and Stroke, man.
Deep choke. So as time goes on, at just 13 years old, he was sent to the Boys Industrial School, which was actually a teenage reformatory school outside of Columbus, Ohio. When he was captured and he was looking back, he claimed it was a punishment for stealing a bike.
Yep.
Now, what's interesting is that while there, he had accumulated 47 disciplinary infractions. 47. Just while, in the
Just
short...
in there. Yeah.
in
So
the
he
short
was an
amount of time.
overachiever.
Yeah, indeed. He was in
just-
all the clubs.
Yeah, he didn't want any of that 1-2 crimes type stuff. He wanted to be
No.
involved in everything.
hmm At the age of 16, in 1956, he was arrested for a burglary in Omaha, Nebraska, and a break-in at a dry cleaners, at a Lorraine, the town dry cleaners, for which he was sent to the Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield. Fun fact, the Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield is the location where the Shawshank Redemption was filmed.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's a scary place.
that's in fact, indeed, it is a scary place. That place was closed in 1990 because of overcrowding and inhumane conditions. So if you hear me talking about If you hear me say Shawshank through this, I'm referring to the Ohio State Reformatory.
So you said it closed in 1990.
Yep.
And they filmed that after that. Shawshank was like 94, right?
I want to say Shawshank was not. It was in fact 94 because I
Okay.
saw that. I saw that in the theaters in 94.
So they filmed it after it closed. They just used the facility. Okay,
Yep.
that's cool to know.
Mm-hmm. So he was eventually paroled, but he was actually sent back to Shawshank in 1961 for breaking into an abandoned furniture warehouse in Elyria, Ohio. Now, another fun fact: he received a 3-year sentence for that break-in. Now, that would be his longest prison stretch until he was finally captured in 2012.
What, Shawshank was his longest prison stretch?
Correct.
Mm.
Correct.
I keep thinking this guy, he's starting to look like Morgan Freeman in my head, and I gotta shake it out.
Yeah.
Picture
So
it.
he got arrested. Yeah. And that's fair. That's absolutely fair. That's absolutely
yeah.
fair. He's
I keep thinking,
institutionalized.
poor Morgan Freeman, like he just wanted to act.
Yeah. So yeah, this guy again at 21 years old was arrested and sent back to Shawshank, and at 21, then he would spend 3 years at that prison again. Shawshank, aka
Same.
the
Reformatory in Ohio.
Ohio.
Mansfield.
Thank you, Mansfield. That's it. Which is again for this guy to go that long. I mean, that long. Just knowing what I know about this guy, and his longest stint was 3 years at that young of an age. That to me just blows my mind. So while he was in Shawshank, again Mansfield, this is where Little learned how to box. Became a boxer. Now this would be a skill that he would use as a serial sex abuser and murderer. Ultimately, before strangling his victims, he would knock them out with a punch to the head.
Wow.
And he referred to himself as a prize fighter. I guess I don't know if anything was proven, but he was saying he was a prize fighter type boxer, just from learning in the prisons.
Right.
I mean, you're gonna learn.
Right.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, Trey, you gonna learn.
Float like a butterfly, choke you to death.
Yes.
Choke and stroke.
Nice.
I
I
wonder
like
if that
that.
song-
Dave. That was good.
I be stroking.
I'll be stroking. Yeah.
I stroke it to the ease.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Stroke It or Stroke Me by
Stroke.
That's another stroke.
That's a
stroke.
guy from Detroit.
Stroke.
yeah, it's not. Is it Gary?
Gary Waters.
No.
No, the guy from Detroit is from Detroit, right?
Detroit, Rock City.
What's his name?
The name escapes me. Oh God, I want to. Gary. It's not Gary Newman. It's It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We'll look that up for you guys later.
Thank you.
Or just put that in the mailbag.
Yeah.
You got a minute.
So at the age of 24, after spending 3 years in Shawshank, he was paroled, but he was again arrested 2 years later for assault and battery after attacking a woman in Cleveland. Now, somewhere in the mid-60s, he had gotten married, but the marriage didn't last long, and there's very little information on it. Ultimately, in the late 60s, he made his way to Florida to live with his mother for a bit. And in Florida, that would be the start of his killing spree.
Now, do we look at Mr. Little? Is he, I guess, in the McDahmer, put him on the spectrum? His childhood by any means? Or
So if we're looking at the McDahmer, there was nothing in what we have established as the McDahmer triad.
as the triad? But I'm looking in the spectrum. Like if you put him in the spectrum.
So in the spectrum,
Prostitute for a mom,
Yeah.
dad abandoning,
yeah. So bad, broken home
broken home.
for
There's
sure.
one.
Broken home has got to be part of it. I think. Again, maybe just him hanging up a picture of a strangulation. Victim.
Strangulation. One his kindergarten teacher, fantasies at a young age.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. At that young kindergarten, do you know like what a killing? Like, I guess I don't know. Would you associate that with killing or with something that just her touching her neck, thinking of strangling her?
I think.
If that's your fetish. I
Yeah,
guess.
you see some chick touching her neck. It's like think of some chick touching her boobs or something like that, right?
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
so that's gonna whatever. It's something like you see whatever. It just turned him on.
Some people are into feet, and that's a thing.
And nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that.
The-
Nothing wrong with the feet.
I'm sure.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, I'm sure there's people that like the neck, or maybe but it's what he takes it to.
I mean, that's into his thing. That is his thing. Is the neck.
The neck, the back, the hoo-hoo, and the crack. That's what I'm saying.
Like that.
It wasn't Gary. The guy's name is Billy Squire.
Billy Squire.
Billy Squire.
God damn
There
it,
you
Billy
go.
Squire.
Yeah, I was
Sorry
thinking,
about that, Billy Squire.
Stroke it, stroke it.
I was thinking of when I was thinking of Bob Seger
Oh,
and
Was that the silver bullet?
band.
Yeah, the silver bullet band.
I was thinking Detroit, but I was thinking Billy Squire was from Detroit because Eminem used his samples on his one album, And I don't know why I was confusing the two, and that's because they,
Eminem used a Billy Squire samples
like
or
on the
Bob
one-
Seger samples.
No, Billy Squire.
Huh.
Yeah, because Rick Rubin produced it, and they
God
took.
bless you, Rick Rubin.
Yeah, it was
Guy's
actually
a genius.
the one Eminem album with the he mimicked the Beastie Boys cover with "Eat Me" in the airplane.
Oh yeah,
I think it was that album or one of them, but yeah, he took like a bunch.
What,
of,
License to Ill?
He took the License to Ill cover and kind of mimicked it on the cover. I think that might have been the one.
He
But-
took that cover and made it his own.
Made it his own.
I say
basically
good for him.
an homage.
Officer Vince with the Tiger Warsaw. We'll be hearing more about that License to Ill
Yeah.
cover coming up.
Yep.
Indeed. So let the killings begin. So in 1970, at the ripe young age of 30 years old, Sam Little on New Year's Eve picks up Mary Brosley at a local bar. And in the early hours of 1971, they drove to a deserted stretch of road near the Florida Everglades, where Little strangled her and buried her in a shallow grave. And now, look, again, as we had mentioned, when you have 93 confessions and 60 confirmations, there's going to be a laundry list of murders here, but I will go through them quickly because so many of them are actually unnamed.
Right. They're just this girl, that girl.
Yeah.
She looked like this.
How's that a good idea, though? I meet some guy at a bar. I meet some lady at a bar. Let's go parking by the Florida Everglades where there's alligators. There's probably 9 million bodies.
Yeah, when you're trying to get your swerve on.
I get it. I get it.
Hey, why don't you and me, we'll go out to the back someplace. Oh, hey, well, there's a lot of people walking around the parking lot, and we're out here trying to kiss or, touch each other's privates or do whatever.
Let's go to the gator area.
We should go to a secluded place. Next thing you know.
Yeah, you're and you think about addiction. A lot of these women had addictions with drugs
Oh, yeah.
and
Cox.
and cock. And if you're looking for some of that, you'll do
Looking
dumb
for some
stuff.
of that. If you're looking for some drugs and some cock,
If
Either
you're looking
or.
for
Man,
drugs and dicks,
you're going to be doing all kinds of crazy shit.
indeed.
I think a lot of it was like drug related. Like how you.
Yeah, that was his victims. They're
Right.
druggies, they
So-
weren't upstanding. Is that what they say? Upstanding citizens?
No.
and they have nowhere to go. Maybe
Yeah,
they're
I'm
like,
pretty sure they didn't have to get up for work at 6 the next morning.
Right.
Like,
And
they
it's-
would chillax.
Given their job, they were considered ladies of the night.
and maybe they're like, oh, I can give me a place to stay. Maybe I'll end up with this guy for a couple nights. So I can
you're right,
see
you're right.
where they're just kind of transient,
They're not
moving
really.
around.
You're not really worried about being next to the Everglades with, where dead people end up.
Right.
So we were talking about, the prostitutes and whatnot, and that being tied in with a drug addiction. And I'm sure that, our one of our number one fans, Officer Vince, will tell you, like, it's amazing what people will do for money when it comes to when you've got to
comes to
feed
drugs,
when you got to
they have
feed
it.
that monkey on your back.
Mm-hmm.
It is crazy what you would do, what one would do just to get enough money to get that next fix.
Some crazy stuff, man.
It's unbelievable.
Well, that's not all. I wouldn't say all. There's like I guess what people would call normal functioning people of society that have just the same amount of addiction. They just
Like
hide it.
gambling or something.
Yeah, or even drugs. Like you, there's hardworking people out there that once they get that paycheck, most of it's gone.
Yeah.
and they still have a nice house. Still have the family,
Right.
the nice car. There's people that it's a hard thing.
Right. So to put yourself in their mindset, it's kind of hard unless you have that, addiction part of your head, you know what I mean, or mind that you think that way.
Yeah.
So I'm not judging them. I could see where maybe, we'll see what what happens here.
You can do it. Put that ass into it.
Dude, I've had friends of mine approached that walking around the city or doing whatever, like $10. Yeah, $10. Yeah, some chick will come up. Yeah, hey, give me $10. I'll give you a blowjob.
Right.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, for $10.
For $10?
Right.
Get your babies out the street.
Where was
Keep
this at?
your goddamn babies out the street.
Come on.
Where was that at?
Where was this at?
Yeah.
Would you have an address
Actually,
or any
it's-
particular?
Actually, it's right.
Can you pin it for me?
Yeah,
on my-
it's on Verbeck Street,
Okay.
between the Broad Street Market and between 2nd and the Broad Street Market. So between 2nd and 3rd on Verbeck.
really in late evening, early evening.
2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow, because I lived in Midtown for a while and I didn't really see any of that.
No.
If you hang outside of the bar that's there, there's a couple of bars that are right close to one another.
Midtown.
Not in Midtown,
Okay.
on Verbeck, you will find strolling prostitutes, that
Ladies of the
are
evening.
ladies of the day at that point.
Yeah. Wow.
You'll be on Verbeck Street. You'll end up on Venereal Street.
Yeah. Ooh, look at that. Dude, what a zinger.
Yeah.
Great play on words. So, first kill, New Year's Eve. Happy New Year. Now he's a murderer. Next murder, came in 1971, where Samuel claims to have killed a woman named Linda in Miami. Listen, Linda. Listen. Do you guys, have you seen that video?
No, well, keep going.
Listen, Linda. It's a kid talking to a.
Oh, Linda, no. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. You're not listening to me, Linda.
Listen, that's right. That's right. That
She
same.
don't even have his license, Linda.
He ain't even got a license, Lisa. In 1971, same year, Samuel claims to have killed another woman, a transvestite named Mary Ann in Miami.
Like 19.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So he loved Mary Jane and Mary Ann
And Linda.
at the same time.
In 1972, he claims to have killed a woman in Prince George County, Maryland. So after the Prince George County murder, he moved back to Cleveland, where he was soon after arrested for an armed robbery and later charged with sodomy. Now, that includes the butt.
Right.
I think that's that's short for the butt.
Something in the butt. Ultimately, he was acquitted of that robbery.
In the butt.
Now, can sodomy, though, be oral, too?
How would you do
No.
oral sodomy?
I don't know. I'm curious. Is it? I always thought it was one or the other, but maybe I'm wrong on that. Like
In the biblical terms, I think it means the buttocks.
it's from Sodom and Gomorrah, right?
Correct. So that's so you're talking about just ridiculous hedonism
Okay.
going on. But again, let's just take this back here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So nature, right? The butt is an exit only.
Can't have babies out the butt.
That's
Right.
right. It
ain't
is
no
exit
baby.
only.
Ain't no baby making in the butthole area.
So don't put things up in there. It's
Okay.
exit only. Nature's way. Ultimately, then, as that becomes, just part of religion and part of the Bible and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
you will see those, at least certainly in the American fashion, that becomes a law. Like, look, it is against the law
Right.
for you to have sex with somebody's butt.
Yeah, I knew it was that.
36
I knew,
out of the 50.
I knew it was that, but I thought it was both. But I'm probably wrong on that. Then.
No, not necessarily. So
Yeah, I know.
you're asking the question: is oral sex also
Included in that. Yeah.
also against the law?
Well, is it
Oral sex would not be considered sodomy.
sodomy? Okay, that's what I wanted to know because if I thought when you heard that sodomy occurred that it could be one or the other. I didn't know, so I
Oh.
was wrong on that then.
Well, not necessarily. Now,
Okay.
I'm no scientist, but
Okay.
as far as I know, sodomy includes only the butt.
Okay, that's what I had. I had the wrong. You know what I mean? Because you said that's what it was,
Right.
and I was like, well, what if it was the other one? What if it was oral? But
Yep.
it's but no pun
Oh,
intended.
okay. From Cornell Law, sodomy refers to anal or oral intercourse.
Boom.
Oh.
As
Oh.
explained in Bass versus State, sodomy is defined as any sexual act involving the sex organs of one person to the mouth or anus of another.
Huh. Look what I
Okay.
learned today.
I learned the same thing. Wow, thank you, Law.
Yeah.
Well, look,
Cornell Law Dave.
No, thank you, Cornell Dave.
Well, no, I don't. I mean, I'm not.
Make you bow down to the row.
But then again, I'm banging you, little hoe.
Right.
Traditionally, sodomy has been referred to as a crime against nature, as Zap was saying, by various courts and statutes. Under common law, sodomy mainly consisted of anal sex. However, in the U.S., the term eventually included oral sex as well.
Okay.
So
So
people
the
be
U.S.
sodomizing all
It,
over
was
the place.
it could be one or the other.
the
then.
U.S. evolved. I was going with the OG.
the original.
That's what I thought also.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got you.
All right. So, hey, look, we're both right.
Right.
That's a good day.
No, and that's why we're here on the Old Dirty Basement, is to educate and
Well, we should have
encourage.
called. We have a lawyer.
Yes, we do.
Anytime
He's
we
busy,
got
though.
Jay-
He's busy during the early morning hours, I
Should have
believe.
given you the U.S. law version.
Yeah.
I don't
true.
know if he's licensed in Europe.
Well, he's a lawyer, so he probably would have danced around it. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Well,
The
that's
answer.
right. It would have started with, well, it depends.
Right.
So ultimately, he was acquitted of the robbery and the sodomy charge. Oh, I'm sorry. He was acquitted of the robbery, and they didn't bother chasing after the sodomy charge.
So this was probably old school sodomy. He was going for the buttocks.
Well, I mean, it's in the 70s.
Right.
By then, the laws could have changed to include the mouth as well as the butt.
In the mouth. In the butt.
So while in
Either or.
So now here we go. While in Cleveland, this guy hooked up with a woman named Aurelia Jean Dorsey, who was 27 years older than him. Now, he met her because this is an interesting story. He ended up meeting this woman because she was in jail at the
Yep.
time with his then girlfriend. So he,
I didn't know that part.
yeah, she's in jail with his then girlfriend. His then girlfriend at the time was this broad named Lucy Madero, and he and Lucy had been arrested for robbing a gas station. Now, while in jail, Madero told her cellmate, this Dorsey woman, that she would be she had planned very much on testifying against her boyfriend, Samuel L.
Little.
Shit,
Man,
sorry.
he's in some great movies.
I'm
Samuel
sorry.
L. Little.
Mr. L. Jackson, I'm very sorry for associating it with you with Samuel Little.
Samuel L. Little, we need to refer to as Samuel L. Little throughout the rest of this
Samuel
podcast.
L. Little. So anyway, yeah. So ultimately, this Dorsey woman again hears her cellmate, who is this dude's girlfriend,
Right.
telling her like, "I'm going to rat on my boyfriend, so I don't get knocked up with this charge, so I don't get hit up with this charge." So Dorsey didn't like that chick at all. This woman who was
27 years old.
27 years older, that woman couldn't stand this Madero chick, and she certainly didn't like her or appreciate the fact that she's going to rat out her boyfriend. So she managed to somehow pass information onto Little's defense, onto like his team, like be it in this by team. Like, we're not talking, Johnny Cochran and shit.
Dream
Right.
team.
But pass information somehow, some way onto like the public defender or people somehow, some way who would have known Little. Samuel L. Little,
Right.
before his trial in 1972. As a result of that, Little was found not guilty. So thanks to her passing this info along, this basically the defense had insider knowledge.
Because now she has like motive to do it. Like, I'm gonna get off. I'm just gonna say.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
It makes
So
it look bad.
when they have that game plan already, they know the other team's game plan.
Right.
They can find a way to work around it.
Right.
And they did, and he got off for it. And this is basically this is a match made in
That's love.
Right.
prison snitch heaven. So as a result, like, yeah,
Well, she was 27. She was old school. She knows that snitches, you don't do that shit. That's old school.
snitches get ditches.
That's right.
So what year was this? 70.
That was 72,
So he's like 32,
32. Yep.
and then she would be 27. Would be
59.
59.
Yep.
Wow.
Dang, pushing Social Security.
But still, she was a good woman
Push
to
retirement.
Samuel L.
Well, she was a good woman to Samuel Little, Samuel L. Little, as we will now comment, or
Just Samuel L. It's fine also.
Samuel L.
Samuel L.
Lovingly referred to him.
Yep.
This woman, this Dorsey woman, his new girlfriend, was considered a shoplifting expert. She taught him everything he knows, or everything she knew about how to shoplift, how to fence the stolen stuff. They together, Samuel L. and Dorsey, they moved around the Midwest and the South throughout the 70s, and the two supported themselves by stealing, other odd jobs, but mostly
Right.
stealing and fencing their shit. Now, these two would remain together until she died from a brain hemorrhage in 1988.
That might have pushed him over the edge.
I don't know. Well, he was already over the edge before then.
Yeah, but
So as these two were together, basically running up and down the coast, when she went to bed at night, he would go out hunting for victims.
Do his thing. He did say though in an interview that like she was not aware of that he was killing and all that, like when he was out.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
'Cause
so
when-
she just thought they were into robbing and stealing.
Yeah, I mean, she
not-
was cool with that crime, but she wasn't aware of the murdering part of what he was doing. She just thought he was out, and she thought he was out like messing with other girls, and he was cool with that, the sexual part, if that's what was going on. But she was not aware of the murdering, is what he said.
And it would make sense to me that she would have thought that he was out stealing
Right.
or committing other crimes. Because
Well-
they got together in 1972, right?
Mm-hmm.
By 1975, he'd been arrested 26 times in 11 different states for crimes such as theft, assault, attempted rape, fraud, and actually attacks on government officials.
DUIs too, shoplifting, armed robbery, all that
Just
shit.
everything.
Yeah, he was anything.
All of that
theft and
shit.
all that shit.
But no murders. At this point, no
No
murders.
murders.
That's now, to be clear, no murders after the first few that he did before he met Dorsey.
Right.
Even though aggravated assault and some rapes, I would have been like, I don't think you're the guy for me.
Yeah.
But
Shit gets rapey.
yeah,
Right.
And well, no. So now here comes the bicentennial year, the year of our births.
Well, actually, you brought that. I was actually born in 75.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
yeah, Dave's not in the club.
But at the end of 75.
Okay.
December, but that doesn't count.
I'll round up.
He,
Yep.
He's not bicentennial.
But I take it as 70. I'll just go with 76.
I can appreciate
But I
that.
just wanted to, for the fact checkers out there.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dave.
Yeah.
So now, after a few years hanging out with Dorsey, that itch, that murderous itch gets back into him. In 1974, he murdered a 23-year-old unnamed black female in Savannah, Georgia. in 1970, also in 1974, another unnamed black female, however, in Cincinnati, Ohio. Now the late night murders continue. In 76, he murdered an unknown black female in Wichita Falls, Texas. Attempted to murder a woman in St. Louis, Missouri, who survived. Now this woman ends up claimed that claimed that he choked her and beat her before raping her. Now, check this out. This is at this point, this guy has killed. Hold on. At this point, this guy has killed 6 people.
Yeah, up there.
Has been convicted of none. Gets caught by this one who survived. He ended up being sentenced to 3 months for assault with intent to rape.
So there was no confirmed rape.
Correct. Not confirmed rape, but apparently
attempted
with intent to rape.
Intent to rape.
So somehow it just got argued down to, and I'm sure JW would love this.
Right.
After, he choked her and beat her before actually raping her. The actual sentence was 3 months for assault with intent to rape.
So what did Samuel L. What was he driving around? Because there's a lot of stuff he would make these killings, and then he would move these bodies.
He had a lot of different cars from what the interviews. I don't know if you have a list of the cars.
No, I do not.
But it was different makes and models.
Yep.
And he
just stashed, just hanging out.
And I don't know if Zap. I don't want to get ahead of anything.
That's cool.
But he had a photographic memory. So looking back on all these crimes, he was able to describe the.
He was a sketch artist also.
Well, we'll get into that. But he was able to describe the car he was driving, the color, the make, and all that stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
But
so it was various vehicles.
But me not being a serial killer, or any of us here, I would hope, it's...
To the best of my knowledge, no.
Yes.
Right.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
That's one thing that I always felt, to be able to kill someone, to have the body there, and to be able to be like, here's my car, let me get him in the trunk here. Some of the guys even just threw him in the back and just push him down on the floor, you know what I mean, or
there's some
wherever.
There's some stuff with that too, with where to there's a ton of that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, is going into that,
you're thinking about that, yeah,
in your mind, just to be like, okay, they're dead. Let me just move. What do I got here? I got a grocery bag. Let me move that.
Have you ever moved
the stuff out of the way?
A drunk friend around you or something, or somebody tried to move dead weight?
It's darn near impossible.
Yeah.
But not even that, just moving that was one of the murders I think we were talking about.
We talked about that in Dahmer. How different he had to jam the body because he's a skinny little piece of shit.
Right.
And although he did work out.
Right.
He had to jam the body into a piece of luggage.
But even to throw luggage around when you're getting ready to go somewhere for a while and you have a big bag and you put both the whole couple stuff in one big bag, that shit's heavy.
It's heavy. Yeah. And you're talking about bodies.
Yeah.
But that much adrenaline, we already talked about that. You're so hyped up.
Mm-hmm.
So now, at this point, we're just going to keep ripping them off. And at any one point, if you guys want to start talking about shit like the weight of bodies in trunks or different cars, by all means, jump in. So between 1977 and 1978, he had 7 more murders. A black female named Joe, whom he killed in Granite City, Illinois. An unnamed black female whom he killed in Houston, Texas. Another unnamed black female in Macon, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So many of these there's 2 more. There was another one. I'm sorry, 3 more. Another one killed in Cleveland, Ohio. Another unnamed black female killed in Charleston, South Carolina. Another one killed in, again, an unnamed black female killed in Plant City, Florida. After all of that,
Georgia, Texas, Florida, Illinois. Yeah, this guy's just going around.
Out of those, there was one for which I could get a name, and that was Clara Birdlong.
Okay, I have that one.
Who was 40 years old, whom he killed in Pascagoula, Mississippi.
So this guy was all over the place, but I do know he was. I saw some of the interviews they did with him after this guy got locked up, which we'll get to. He was very open about talking about everything. There was a time during all this in Florida is where it happened. He had one of the girls in the car with him. They had sex. He just got done strangling her and killing her. She's dead in the passenger seat, and a cop pulls up and gets out. Do you have anything about that?
I got nothing. Go for it.
So he said, yeah, the cop, I see the lights. I'm like, shit. So he thought real quick, let me get out and start zipping up. Oh, officer, I'm sorry. We were having sex. My wife's in here. We were just we were having intercourse, and she's sleeping now or whatever. And the cop came up, looked in real quick with the flashlight and saw the girl laying there. And he got his attention real quick to divert him back to him and kind of talk, blah, 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 whatever. And the cop was like, hey, just whatever, just get out of here. You can't be doing
Yeah,
this
keep
stuff.
it in your pants, man. I don't need to hear about your dalliances.
Cops like looking in there with a flashlight. He's like, "Are you okay, young lady?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine."
He's like a ventriloquist.
doing great. We're just zipping up here, officer.
But point being is that he could have been caught right there. You know,
100%.
So this happens. We've been through this with most of our
my God,
serial
yeah.
killers. There's
Oh my
always that one
right.
point that where it's all could have been ended, and they somehow.
Unless you're the dumbass truck stop killer who pulls over on the side of the road and puts your hazard
Four
lights
ways,
on. Yes.
draw attention to your.
Hold on.
4 ways, yeah.
But yeah, so he could have got it there, and yeah, it was just crazy though.
And again, I think when I was talking earlier about, how do we know this guy committed, what Dave was saying, he sketched a lot of these and told the cops exactly where, things were, bodies were, how it was happened,
Yeah.
what
It's things like, I bet, okay, I'm,
photographic, as they had,
even without you telling me,
Yes.
officer, I can tell you that she looked like this.
and this guy knew.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he had his MO too. He knew what victims to go after, and he even made a comment about going back to cities he already murdered in, and it was like plucking grapes to him. Oh, I'll take them. Oh, here's one. Boom, and he was like doing this in the interview, like it was just like plucking grapes. Like, oh, I'll get another one. I'll get another. And these people, unfortunately, because of their lifestyles and what they're doing, people aren't looking for them.
No,
They're just transient.
it's
nobody
it's
cares.
one step above homeless.
right.
It really is. It's okay. That was 78. So 1980, my next on record, he got a hold of and murdered Patricia Parker in Dade County, Georgia. In 1981, there was yet another unnamed black female in Atlanta, Georgia. Also, there was an Annie Lee Stewart, who was 32 years old, murdered on October 1st, 1981 in Cincinnati, Ohio. Samuel L. ended up strangling her and disposed of her body in the woods behind some apartments. 1982, 2 more different unnamed black females in New Orleans. Also in 1982, he was arrested in Pascagoula, Mississippi, and charged with the murder of the 22-year-old Melinda Mindy Lepre. Now, the grand jury declined to indict him for her murder. Yet while he was under investigation, he was extradited to Florida and tried for the murder of the then 26-year-old Patricia Ann Mount, whose body was found in September of 1982. Now, due to shitty witnesses, Little was acquitted in January of 1984.
Wow.
witnesses, even though you can admit to something or be like, yeah, I was there.
They couldn't trust him, I guess.
Correct.
Yeah, they didn't believe him.
Could not believe the witnesses.
Mm.
Unbelievable. So, okay, there you go. U.S. justice system. Off we go.
Yeah, we're also talking about that.
So that was between 1982 and 1984. But in the meantime, in 1983, he killed an unnamed white female in Atlanta. Then in 1984, here we go with the list again. An unnamed black female in Atlanta, another unnamed black female in Tampa, Florida. He killed, then there was Frances Campbell, who was murdered in Savannah, Georgia. Mary Jo Payton, who was murdered in Cleveland, Ohio. Then he moved to San Diego later that year. Now, while in San Diego, he was arrested for kidnapping, beating, and strangling the then 22-year-old Laurie Barros in October. She survived. A month later, he was found by police in the backseat of his car with an unconscious woman who had also been beaten and strangled in the same location as the attempted murder of Barros. He ended up serving 2.5 years in prison for both crimes. Now, again, what are these crimes?
What are the crimes? Yeah.
This is assault.
So he beat them unconscious. They didn't die, though. They just
Correct.
beat them unconscious in there.
He beat up. Yep. He kidnapped. Again, kidnapping is just essentially taking somebody against their will, beating them and strangling them.
Assault and battery.
Yep. No
Yeah.
rapes though.
Yeah.
No rapes. So it was while he was in prison for both of these things, where he was serving 2.5 years in prison. It was around this time, again, we're in 1984 now. Technology's just now coming up to speed. His DNA was obtained.
Mhm.
Like, it's like, this is part, you're in prison now. This is part of it. We're going to take your DNA.
Right.
And this is at the very beginnings of that FBI database of DNA, stuff like that. Now, we got to keep that one in mind. So just keep that little fun fact in mind. So he's now in the system. So upon his release in February of 1987, he immediately moved to LA and committed at least 10 additional murders.
And that was most of the unnamed black female, unnamed black female.
So many of these are unnamed. So he had 2 unnamed chicks in 1987. One was in Monroe, Louisiana. Another one was in Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, 1987. He went crazy.
Yeah, and near the end of 87, he murdered Carol Linda Alford, who was 41 years old at the time. She was also murdered in L.A. Next year, 1988, he killed an unnamed Hispanic chick in Phoenix.
You know, it's funny, LA at that time, that was around the Night Stalker time.
Yeah.
Now these are different MOs because these are, you know, home, like not home. Well, I guess
You're going to have different people murdering.
right.
In big cities, you're going to have different people
Yeah,
murdering
you're right.
all the time.
There's so much,
But they're
murder going
transients.
on.
Like nobody really gives a shit. Like,
And-
oh, that unnamed, when you're saying
well-
an unnamed black female, unnamed Hispanic female.
Yeah.
Right, but the MO too as well. He never stabbed, shot, did anything. It was always strangled. There was not. That was the one thing they said because there was really not much other than, you know, the DNA from you know, semen, I'm assuming,
Yep.
or spit or whatever else. He's not stabbing or cutting, but he actually made a comment. He hated blood, the sight of blood.
Mm.
So
So the lady could be sitting there just look like a drug addict strung out, or just a drug addict that overdosed. People just walking by him all day. You're not
Yeah,
sitting
they're
there
just
worried
sitting there
about some
unconscious.
person that looks like they're sleeping on the side of the street.
That's exactly. I was just going to say
Right.
that. They just look like they're sleeping.
just stepping over him, like,
yeah,
oh,
stepping over, because you do that in LA today, it's the same thing.
right.
Later in 88, he killed Linda Bennett, 25 years old, in Owenton, Kentucky. Move on to 1989. He killed Audrey Nelson Everett, who was found on August 14th, 1989 in L.A. Also, Guadalupe Apodaca, who was found on September 3rd, 1989, again in L.A. Moving on to 1990, the murder of Zena Jones, 28 years old, who was murdered in West Memphis, Arkansas. 1991, Rose Evans, who was 32 years old, murdered in Cleveland, Ohio. 92, an unnamed black female in L.A. 93, an unnamed black female in Las Vegas. In 1994, year of our graduation, Denise Christie Brothers, who was 32 years old, was killed in Odessa, Texas. 1996, an unnamed white female in Los Angeles. In 1997, a woman named Anne
And okay.
in Phoenix, Arizona. And now, after all of that, we come to September 5th, 2012. Now, this dude was arrested in a homeless shelter. So we're saying 97 to 12. There's 15 years go by. 2012, he's arrested in a homeless shelter in Louisville, Kentucky. And he's extradited to Los Angeles to face a narcotics charge. Now, he'd been arrested back in 2007 in Los Angeles for cocaine charges. He had pled guilty and was ordered to attend a drug rehab program. However, he never showed up for the rehab. So as a result of him...
No.
That's right. That's exactly. Both him and Amy Winehouse said that.
No.
So as soon as he didn't show up for the program, an arrest warrant was issued. Now, again, after that, from 2007 to 2012, we're now 5 years ahead. When he was arrested at this homeless shelter, that DNA stuff was on file from back in the 80s. They got him he's on the radar. He's in their system. So the DNA testing right then was established that he was involved in the murders of 3 different people, 2 of them in 87 and 1 in 89. First one was Linda Alford, who was killed on July 13th of 87. Guadalupe Apodaca, who I just mentioned earlier, who was killed on September 3rd of 87. And Audrey Nelson Everett, who had been killed on August 14th, 1989. So he was extradited from Kentucky to Los Angeles, where all 3 of those women were killed.
And he was found guilty of all 3, you said, right?
Well, he was charged on January 7th, 2013, and found guilty on September 25th, 2014.
Okay.
Now, on those 3, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. After a few months, again, DNA is on file. Samuel L. was being investigated for the involvement in 36 murders committed back in the 80s, which until then had been completely, unsolved, undisclosed. Nobody said shit. Oh, we found this dead person.
Were these LA County murders, or were these all the ones involving
All
over the place?
All over.
And these are DNA based.
This is all DNA based. So you find some dead body someplace. I don't know. Take a skin scraping, put it into the database, do something.
Right.
And that's just a few dozen alone. In total, we mentioned this now, Samuel L. was DNA tested for the involvement in 93 murders. 93.
Wow.
Yet he was ultimately convicted on only 4.
That's wild to think, that.
You said 93. He was firsthand, they said involved in 60, and then you said
He was tested for 93. He said I did 93.
yes.
So he's claiming like, yeah, fuck it. With that photographic memory you mentioned, Dave. Yeah, I killed 93 people. Most of them broads. And so again, it's like I said, prove me right or prove me wrong. They were able to ultimately prove right just by DNA stuff. 60.
Yes, 60.
And like we often bring up, and I think Matt brought it up on the one of the ones, the serial killer ones, is that how do you know when these guys are
Correct.
just like racking up numbers? So according to one of the investigators in it was in 1998 there was a murder, and they were bringing in pictures of these victims and stuff. There was no possibility he was responsible because he was locked up or wherever he was. There's no way he could have committed the murder. So he's like, let's see if we can trick the guy, see if he's telling the truth on all these accusations or all these admissions to murder. They gave him the picture, and he's like, oh yeah, I know that girl. And they're like, oh, here we go. Like he's been lying all along. He's like, I know that girl. I picked her up. I wanted to kill her. I didn't. I dropped her back off. He's like, later on.
She wasn't the grape I wanted.
Right. He's like, at a later date, I went back to that same area looking for her, and she was gone. Like, so I wanted to kill her, but I didn't get the chance, basically.
They're like, shit.
So they were like, yeah, he's just not, like, he's not just taking credit for other murders.
Right.
That was kind of a way to, like, I guess, test him. So they were trying to do it to see if they could catch him. And, obviously on that one, at least, he was not lying about it and taking credit. Because it'd be real easy to be like, yeah, I killed her.
I'm pretty sure when guys get ready for death row, like you're saying, they start bringing stuff out. Hey, what about her? And the guy's like, man, he was locked up during that time. Hey, how about her? Oh, he was locked up during that time.
Right.
So then they're like, telling if this guy's a cuckoo bird and half his stories are made up, or is this guy legit?
Right.
So on the day he was ultimately convicted in 2014, and for years thereafter, he continued to plead his innocence.
Yep.
It's like, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Now, at some point, years after, he was a part of some kind of FBI probe or maybe some kind of local county something probe or like a docu-series or something like that, that over the course of 650 hours of interviews, he ended up confessing to 93 those 93 murders.
That was called a VICAP,
Okay.
in the Violent Criminal Apprehension Program.
Okay.
Yeah, and
And
that's
that's what they were doing.
and that was after they promised him no death penalty.
Right. So he's like, fuck it. I'll tell you everything I did.
Right.
And it went from the 4 for which he was convicted to 93, his claims.
Right. Because at that point, you're already locked up. You're not getting out. You might as well talk about it. And you could see, they said, like, you could see that he took pleasure in talking about it. It's
Absolutely.
It's like reliving.
Speaking of taking pleasure, so most of these women, again, there might have been a dude or two here or there, but the vast lion's share of these were women. And most of these women were found naked from the waist down. And almost all of them had been strangled.
Yep, that was his thing.
That was
The
his,
choke
like,
and stroke.
yeah, that's his, little sign.
And he said he would take them out to eat usually.
The wet burglars.
The wet burglars. He said he would take them out to eat beforehand as like foreplay. He would actually like to watch them swallow, the neck motion, drinking and eating.
Oh,
And that would turn him on. Like he was all about the neck. And if the neck wasn't right, he would just move on to the next one.
if the neck didn't fit,
He must have quit.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
he didn't need no neck, no nasty neck.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of neck he liked, but I guess like it had to be.
It had to been a
obviously,
nice neck. I don't know.
The ones
Right.
that he could stroke after he knocked him the fuck out by punching him in the face.
pretty much. And the reason why he stopped murdering, do you know why that?
No.
Well, he knew that at some point, I think he was like 65 by then, that like, I'm not strong enough anymore. Like either I'm not going to be able to because he had to physically.
That makes sense.
He was going to get overpowered.
Yeah, he wouldn't use any kind of belts or rope or anything. He used his hands.
Yeah.
And he was like, at some point, if I do kill him, then I can't move him. There's a possibility, because I'm not strong enough.
Well, so he stopped murders in 97.
Right.
That's the last one I got.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, he was 57 years old.
Okay, yeah.
So, okay, he's getting tired. He's approaching, murder retirement.
Right. Yeah, I guess he just physically
Yeah,
couldn't do
in
it
jail, I
anymore.
guess that's where you go.
Yeah.
Like a murder retirement home.
It's like anything. You hit a certain point, it's like, I can't do it, Like, look at Brady. He retired, you just figure your body can't do it anymore. And it's just like anything. So I guess it just got to a point where he's like, I want to do it. I just can't physically do it
physically do
anymore.
it,
yeah.
He said the compulsion never went away. There's a girl that did a documentary on Stars, I believe it was. She had access to him through all of this that you were talking about,
Yeah.
as well as the investigators. And she's trying to connect all these murders and stuff to like help solve it. And she asked him flat out, like, if given the chance, you would kill me, wouldn't you? And he was like, I'm not gonna lie, I would.
You got a
Like, 'cause
great neck.
he's all about it, still.
He's like,
Up till the point,
could you eat this tasty cake for me, please?
just let me see you eat. Yeah.
Thank you.
Try this Italian sub.
There's no eating around this guy, okay, ladies?
Yeah.
Like, come on, I'm hungry.
No, don't give her anything to drink. She's got to chew. I got to
Yeah.
see that throat move.
Yep, that's what it was, man.
So, yeah, man, that's some fucked up shit. Anyway, so at the ripe old age of 80 years old, on December 30th, 2020, he died in a Los Angeles County hospital. While there is no official cause of death, Samuel L. did suffer from the diabetes, heart problems, and other varying.
Could have been COVID.
Could have been. Oh, yeah, that's right. In 20, I'm sure. Yeah, it could
Yeah.
very well have been the COVID scare.
It's good for
Yeah.
something.
Yep. Might have been.
Mm.
Might have been. Who knows?
Yeah.
Apparently, everybody died of COVID. Nobody dies of COVID.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah, no matter what it was, yeah, I know what
It
you're
was
saying.
COVID.
Yep.
Depends who you talk to if you died of COVID or not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
It's very political.
Right. Yeah, it just depends. But yeah, that they did do a lot of interviews with him, like I said, and then you have stuff there about the paintings and stuff.
No.
The sketches.
That's all. Oh, so yeah. So by all means,
No, go ahead.
no, talk about it. I was just going to say, like when you were saying paintings, I was going to say one of my fun facts.
Fun facts. Yeah.
Fun fact about this cousin.
Are we doing that now? Is it like a murder? Are we doing murder or fun facts?
Well, I think at the end you kind of freestyle and just kind of talk about.
Okay.
little
I mean,
things,
I didn't know if that was like
I mean, with the true crime, I think we kind of, as we go along, it's a little easier
Yeah.
to like, go in with facts, but there's always stuff left over at the end that maybe we didn't get to.
No, I'm just putting that out there also for the mailbag. If we have, I mean, for the true crime also, if you have any
Fun facts.
fun facts
Yeah.
of our murderers or
Maybe-
criminals or
Maybe we shouldn't call them fun facts because
That's
it is
yeah.
murder, but we can come up with just like facts. I don't know. We'll have to come up with a term that's
Well, here's a quick one. Fun fact. If you look this guy up and you dig deep enough, it's a cursory
right.
depth.
yes,
Right.
You can find 15 mugshots of this dude. 15.
Oh, that he was in custody.
Yes. For
Actually, have that from 1966 to 95. He has that many mugshots.
29 years. He's got that 15 mugshots.
And they,
Fuck.
yeah,
They're great
definitely,
too. I mean, it looks like you can see his whole progression.
they definitely dropped the ball.
72 is my favorite. He
He's
Oh,
he's a good looking
Yeah.
dude.
That
You know
guy
what I
was
mean?
ready for
Yeah.
Superfly.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, he had stages.
I mean,
Or he was ready to fight Apollo Creed.
looking at the pictures, he was like a handsome guy, especially as a young man. You could see
he
where
kind of looks like Pablo Escobar
That
there.
one
well,
is
there
definitely
That's
he's
Pablo.
he was starting to age there.
Mm-hmm.
But back in the day, you could see where these girls probably like, oh, he's a good looking dude. Let me jump in with him, jump in the car and
Yeah,
see what's doing. But
Come 93, he looked like Mike
That's
Tyson.
De La Soul.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
He has the whole Gumby haircut, 1966.
yep,
Wow,
yeah. But he was definitely prolific, as it said.
prolific.
So on the topic of the pictures,
Right.
sketches.
So like we talked about, he had a photographic memory. He's able to remember these victims' faces, all of them, and he would do these sketches, drawings. I guess they almost look like paintings. I'm not sure if they're
Yeah, they were.
paintings.
Some were paintings, some were sketches, some were
And
drawings.
they were using these to try to tie to all these unnamed victims. And hopefully, if you go on the FBI's, I think it's an FBI website, it's definitely has FBI in the title. I don't know if they run it or what,
Sure.
but they have the
They're-
pictures
Yeah, he did these
and
sketchings, drawings, paintings.
right.
So
And
it's a collage.
it's a collage. They're hoping that somebody can look at that picture.
But I'm saying
and-
he was a very good artist. Like some of these, I mean, that kind of looks like Whitney Houston right there. I don't
He
know
needs
if
to
you
work on
found
the lips a little bit.
Whitney right there. Looked like Catherine Zeta-Jones. I don't know.
Easy.
Some of these ladies, I don't know.
There is a one in
Zeta
here named
Jones.
Xena.
Yeah.
There's a Xena Jones.
Yeah.
I wonder if I'm more curious. Does he paint them how he believes he sees them? Like, is he going to, if he sees a woman, obviously, so he goes for the neck, right?
Mhm.
But maybe if he remembers that woman because of her lips,
right.
is he then going to emphasize
Overdo it on
yeah,
that.
I
on
don't
that?
know. If you look at these photos of the neck's very prominent. And like, look at this lady's neck.
That's
Yeah.
the one where her neck was already broken.
This
Her head's
lady's
all
neck.
cockeyed.
neck. He's
That
got a
one's-
lot of neck.
That one had a
Right.
sad face. Oh, that one's Jane Fonda.
No, Jane Fonda right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he has the neck is very.
well, that was his thing.
Let's not forget, he's the choke and stroke.
True.
Mm.
The man liked to strangle.
True. But I think they did solve a few of them or connect a few of them off.
He did connect
of
a few off
pictures.
of his pictures.
Now the girl that did the
with those pictures, just a few. That's a part of the 60.
mhm.
So if he claimed 93, they were able to confirm a total of 60. Many of which came from those sketches.
Right.
Yeah.
So the thing that I watched at the time was in 2019 when I think it was 2019 when they were
There's
So-
something on the Oxygen channel on this guy.
right.
It's
With-
like a 4 or 5 part series.
this was on like YouTube, and
Mhm.
I think it was 2018 or 19 with the tapes, and at that time they only had 50. So obviously they added 10 more, and I
Hmm.
think they were from some of these portraits and the connections and stuff because they're unnamed, and these people are looking for
Right. We don't let him hoes.
right.
No. But as you were saying, he goes into where he does these sketches and drawings. He does them for these cops or whatever. And he was saying, I remember this girl wearing shorts. It was a hot day out. Went to a drug dealer pimp's house. I bought some weed, this and that. He knows exactly. The other ones, he was like, oh, I was driving a black Thunderbird at the time. The black female crawled towards me, took off her pants,
And
saying,
drinking Thunderbird at the time.
maybe. But he's very, very in detail about like a lot of these times and a lot of these women that he was with.
What's he got to lose?
So
Nothing.
I have
Well, you're right though too. Then he can just be like, yeah, this, and this.
I have 2 facts on him here. He was a Cleveland Browns fan
Oh, fun fact.
and Ohio State football fan,
Hmm.
and
Go
obviously
Buckeyes.
OHIO.
because he was from there, but he actually said in an interview with one of the investigators, he was like, hey, can you talk to me about Gainesville, because there was a missing girl in Gainesville. He's like, I hate the Gators. And the guy was like, oh, that's right, you're Ohio State. He's like, yeah, Buckeyes all the way. And they also reference about liking the Browns, so we know he followed those as sports teams.
Hmm.
The girl that did the documentary I was talking about earlier, that was like on Stars, I think it was, his family wanted nothing to do with him, obviously because of his, being a murderer and all that.
I wonder if he followed Nicole Brown.
Maybe.
Hmm.
I don't know. But the girl that made a documentary was listed as his next of kin. So when he ended up dying in prison, she had to handle everything for him.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I don't know if she agreed to do that because of him giving her all the content for a documentary she was making or cooperating with her. She said that she was a little on edge with him, obviously, being in the room with him. And he was a big, he was like over 6 foot, 6'1", and the guys that were in there with him interviewing him, looking at his hands, they were big ass hands. They said where they could see where, I couldn't imagine.
These meat claws wrapped around somebody's neck.
Right.
Right.
And that part of it, he said he introduced that into just regular sex to start. He would just like choke a little bit, and then eventually, when it was with somebody that he wasn't with, he decided to try to take it to that next level, and then he realized, I really like, that's what my fantasy was all
Yeah.
along. So
That's
yeah.
like that chick from GoldenEye. It was Anna Top from Russia. She would, this is the first Pierce Brosnan James Bond GoldenEye. She would kill her victims by wrapping her legs
around with the super tight.
Yeah, super tightly. And so she would, for lack of a better word, she would orgasm as a result of this
strangling
them out with her legs.
Wow.
Didn't she get him in they were in the sauna or something?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember that part.
He fought back.
Yeah, he did. He's
You
tough.
can't
It's
kill James Bond. You
man.
cannot kill James Bond.
But as Dave was saying earlier when we were talking about how Samuel L. was getting older and stuff, where he was thinking in 1992 he met a heavier set.
Yes, the bigger girl.
200 some pounds, and I guess he did. He took her back to the place, strangled her, got her back in his car somehow. But he said he was so tired, he just left her in the passenger seat because he couldn't move her back right away.
It's too much.
Yeah, so he just, I mean, it's not funny.
No, it is.
But he just let her in there,
Know
like
your limits.
looking like she was asleep, so he could go run some errands.
Know your limits, Samuel.
He's like,
L.
man, come on, it's a lot to do.
So if you figure based on the number of 60, so he was 11 more than Gary Ridgway, 25 more than Ted Bundy, and 27 more than John Wayne Gacy. So that puts you in, where the rank.
That's
maybe
where this dude
two-
is, and yet people never heard of this guy.
Right. Well,
Where's his publicity?
yeah. I mean, it's one that I guess that, I guess maybe too it's more current because it happened in like they solved it in 14, 15 maybe till it hit the media. So it's whereas Bundy and Gacy and all those have been, and Dahmer, and they've all been years and years now.
No.
Although Green River Killer, was that the one they did? No, that was BTK with the DNA. Yeah, that got more coverage, I guess. But yeah, you're right. You would think being the most, but maybe now there'll be more stuff on it. I know that girl did that documentary, and I don't know if it's out yet, if it did come out, but yeah.
This guy's the murdering goat.
Yep.
But they also he was into the post-mortem sodomy in the anal type way.
Oh,
I was
really?
reading. Yeah, there was
So after are you saying that after he would kill them, he would
after
stick
he
his
would
junk
kill
in
them,
their butts?
he would figure it was time to get the sexy on.
Well, they're loose.
Well, most of them, like I said, they were crack addicts, cokeheads, marijuana, anything that can get them high or drunk. But there was reports in here that there were times where he got carried away out of control, and then after he would strangle them, he would take their pants down and have sex with them. Yes.
Yeah.
In their butt.
Yeah.
I think that was his post-mortem happy place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The butt.
Mm-hmm.
Sexy.
Yeah.
That's where the
doing the button. Hey.
doesn't make any sense to me, man.
Is that cameo?
Cameo. No, was that Cameo? No. Was it?
No.
Cameo.
Doing the butt was not Cameo. Cameo did Word Up.
Tell me what's the word.
Isn't that the same?
No. The ones that did Doing the Butt, it's 3 letters. Or
TLC.
it's two
TLC.
I'm sorry,
Doing the butt.
it's 2 or 3 letters in their name. 2 or 3 letters. And they go by either one. It's either the full name or they just go by the acronym.
And Matt's finger box.
Yeah.
Let's look this one up.
I want to say there's a U and an A in there, or an R and an A.
No, The Butt was the song by Experience Unlimited. I would have never.
Sorry, EU. That's it.
EU. Okay, I got you.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know that. I was thinking Cameo for some reason.
That was popular then. It was Word Up.
Cameo did Word Up.
Tell me what's the word.
Yeah. All right.
Not to be confused with Taco, who did
Taco.
Putting on the Ritz.
Putting on the Ritz.
Where you go and you don't know where to go to.
Anyways, yeah, that was a good one to cover, Zap, because I don't think there's a whole lot out there on there. So
if we end a serial killer and Matt's singing Taco, there's not enough out there on this guy. Samuel L. needs more attention here.
He needs more coverage. So
yeah,
how though? How the guy sketched victims, told cops where victims were. I mean, lived this insane life of where he was almost caught, like dead people in his car,
right?
And nothing.
Well, like I said, it is a little bit more current. I mean, I wouldn't say that 7 years, or I guess now 8 years. Let's say.
I bet Officer Vince would have caught this guy.
Yeah, Officer
Vince is not going to sleep on letting somebody tell him that there's a woman. That woman's asleep in my car.
It would have been cool if he would have called him, Officer Vince, and then he's playing our podcast while he took him to jail.
If you're in any county above Pittsburgh, watch out for Officer Vince.
That'd have been awesome.
Like we'll have Officer Vince gets all them criminals, and then they're in the car there with him, and then they become fans of the podcast because he's always listening to it.
Then they pass it around once they're in lockdown.
Right.
Man, word travels fast. They get visitors.
Right. And they'll
like
that you want to bring smoking back.
In a big
jail.
way.
Yeah.
I want to bring smoking back to jail.
To jail.
Yeah, I just don't know this guy, how it got shuffled around. Nothing.
I don't know how the known universe slept on this guy.
Was he not chopping people up, eating people? Is that where you get like the high?
Right. Was it not flashy enough?
Maybe not.
That's what I'm saying. Like just because he choked them, maybe. I don't know.
Boring.
There's no blood, no guts.
That too, yeah. They like the violent, like eating people, like
burying people
doing weird shit. And
well, post-mortem, I would think sodomy is a little bit.
Well, that's weird.
Shit.
But was that everyone?
No, a couple. It all depended. Sometimes he would get carried away and admit to having sex after they were dead.
I don't know. I mean, you don't know why certain things blow up and, other things don't. You wonder about that podcast. Why are some blowing up? Why are some not? You know what I mean? There's just always, and you never know. It could happen. This might be the next Netflix series. You just never know. So,
watch it be. We get nothing for it.
Then we'll, hey, if we have this out,
we could do our own.
We'll have our, we'll have this out already. And then when people start Googling it or however you search Bing, you'll see Old Dirty Basement. We covered it, so I appreciate Zap again covering that.
Good job, Zap.
I'm not 100% sure how scheduling is going to work, but we'll definitely be back next week with a true crime or compelling story. Don't forget to find us on Facebook and Instagram at Old Dirty Basement and on TikTok at Old Dirty Basement Podcast. You guys have anything else in closing before I forget?
Choke and stroke.
Choke and stroke.
That's all I got.
Samuel L. Crazy guy.
Yep. Yep. So I guess that's it for now. So we'll catch you where?
On the flip side.
If we don't see you sooner, we'll see you later.
Peace.